Hi guys, welcome back. We're going to go through the lesson plans for this week and kind of the agenda, and then we'll get into our notes. So today we are going to review a little tiny bit about the decimal place value, which you guys worked on last week when you were at home. And then we're going to dive into adding and subtracting decimals. So as you can see up here, no calculator. So every time we do these lessons and you do IXL, you do homework, no calculator because this is going to be working on your adding and subtracting skills. So today you guys are going to do notes, and it's going to be a little bit of review of place value, and then we're going to talk about just the adding of decimals, some IXL, and then if you have time, iReady. Tuesday we're going to do the subtraction notes, some IXL. Wednesday we're going to get into some story problems and then finish the IXL. Thursday review, test Friday. So kind of like our normal weeks. All right, so let's dive into our notes. So you all should have this in your binder as always. Make sure you're writing the what I'm writing down that you're writing down at the same time so that you can learn. Okay, first thing we're going to talk about is vocabulary terms. So right here we have the term add. So in this box we're going to say add means answer to an addition problem. All right, and over here in these examples, we're going to think of keywords or terms that when we read story problems, we know that we are going to be adding. So some examples of words that mean to add are total, together, plus, sum, both, join, increase. All right, and what is another word that could mean to add? If we read a story problem, it's going to tell us add. And the answer to that question was in all. There are more, but those are the main ones you're going to hear. So make sure you have all of this written down. All right, our next one is subtract. So these are the answer to a subtraction problem. Again, you'll see all these words. Subtraction problem. You'll see all these words in story problems. So let's think of some examples or keywords and story problems that would signify that we are going to be subtracting. So another word for subtract is minus, less than, take away, remains, decrease, or the whole phrase of how much more, or how many are left. All right, and what is another word that means to subtract? So another word is difference. So as we do this, we're going to be doing a lot of story problems, so you're going to have to know what words signify add and what words signify subtract, so you know what you're doing. All right, place value review. So we're going to do a little bit of review of what you guys did last week. So here's a little chart to help you remember your place value. This is also in your notes and your binder if you need to reference that. Okay, so the first example here is done for you. So it says 3.25. The underlying number is 2. And what place value is that in? This is the ones, we have the decimal, tenths, hundredths. So 2 is in the tenths, so it's 2 tenths. All right, let's look over here at number 1. So we have 0.534. What place value is this 4 in? So we have ones, here's a decimal, tenths, hundredths, thousandths. So we know it's in the thousands place, and then it's a 4. So we need to say 4, underline that, 4 thousandths. 4 thousandths is what you should have. All right, number 2. We have 0.756. What place value is that 5 in? Go ahead and do this one on your own. All right, so we have the ones, decimal point, tenths, hundredths, thousandths. So you should have 5 hundredths. All right, number 3. What place value is the underlying number? The underlying number is 6. So we're to the left of the decimal point. To the left of the decimal point is ones. So we have 6. Let's pull that up. 6 ones. Number 4. Do number 4 on your own. All right, so the 3 is in the ones, decimal point, tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 10 thousandths. So we should have 5, 10 thousandths should have been your answer. All right, last one for the place value. Do this one on your own as well. So we have 27, decimal point, and tenths, hundredths, thousandths. So we should have 8 tenths. All right, hopefully since we did a whole week of this, you guys are getting the hang of it, and we're going to move on to adding and subtracting decimals. All right, so the process for adding and subtracting decimals is making sure that you line up your decimal points. That is the most important thing when you're adding and subtracting, is making sure your decimals are lined up. So your numbers might not exactly match, but if your decimal points are lined up, you'll be able to add and subtract. And then step 2, you add or subtract. All right, let's look at example number 1. All right, we have 5.34, so we're going to write that down. Go ahead and write that down. Plus 20.2. So our very first step that we talked about over here is lining up your decimals. So let me put the decimal point here. Then what is on the left side of the decimal point? We have a 0 and a 2. 20, and what's on the other side? 2 plus. Okay, so now we have this empty spot right here under the 4. Anytime you have a decimal point and numbers to the right of it, you can add as many zeros as you want. So we can add a 0 here. If we really wanted to, we could keep adding zeros. It's on the right side of the decimal point, which we don't need all those zeros, so I'm going to erase those. But to even it up, we need to add an extra 0. So then we have the same number, line of numbers on both sides. So we lined up our decimal points. Our next step is to add. So it's 4 plus 0, 4, 3 plus 2, 5. When we add and subtract, we bring down the decimal. So we're going to bring it down. 5 plus 0, 5. And then we have no number here, so that's like a 0. And then 0 plus 2, 2. So our answer is 25.54. All right, our example number 2. This one is a subtraction problem. Again, it's super important. Our first step is to line up our decimals. So we're going to write 100. Put that down a little bit. 100 minus 63.75. Well, 100 doesn't have any decimals, so where's that decimal point going to go? It's going to go at the very end of our number. So right here we can put a decimal point. And what can we always put on the right side of decimal points? 0. So we're going to add zeros. Now we're going to write down 63.75. So we line up our numbers, 63.75. Draw our line. Okay, now we need to subtract. Can we take 0 minus 5? Nope, we can't take 0 minus 5. What about 0 minus 7? Same thing. 0 minus 3, 0 minus 6. We can't do any of that. So we need to go all the way to the 1 and start borrowing. So when we borrow, the 1 becomes a 0. The 0 becomes a 10. We need to cross that out and make it a 9 because we have to keep borrowing. 0 becomes a 10. And we need to borrow from it. 10. Borrow from it. 10. Now we're good to go. Now we can start subtracting. So what is 10 minus 5? 5. 9 minus 7. 2. Bring down our decimal point. 9 minus 3. 6. 9 minus 6. 3. So 100 minus 63.75 is 36.25. All right, last section. We're just going to do the adding part today. It says to add decimals, line up the decimal points. Line up the decimal points, then add the digits in the same place value. All right, so number 1, we have 0.87. Make sure you're writing this down. Plus, we line up our decimal points. 6 goes under the 0, decimal point, 1, 2. Draw your equal sign. What is 7 plus 2? 7 plus 2 is 9. 8 plus 1, 9. Bring down your decimal. 0 plus 6, 6. So your answer is 6.99. So that was pretty easy because both of our numbers had 3 digits in it. So it was easy to line up. We had 1 digit to the left and 2 digits to the right. So it was pretty simple. Number 2 is different. Number 2, I have 1 digit to the right, 1 digit to the left and 3 on the right, 1 to the left and only 2 on the right. So we have to be careful when we line this one up. So I'm going to write that first number, 4.609. I'm going to add. I'm going to put my ones under my ones. So this is where you have to know your place value. This 2 is in the ones place, so it's going to go under my 4. And then I'm going to put my decimal, 8, 1. Now I have an issue because I have this blank spot right here. What can I always add when I'm finish my numbers on the left side of a decimal? What number can I always add? I can always add 0. Now I'm all set up. I have numbers in each place value, so now I can add. 9 plus 0 is 9. 0 plus 1, 1. 6 plus 8 is 14. Carry my 1. 4 plus 2 is 6. And then don't forget about my 1 up there, 7. I bring down my decimal point. So 7.419. All right, number 3. Do number 3 on your own. Make sure you show your work and then answer the question. So number 3, I'm going to write it down. Again, I don't have the same number of digits, so I'm going to have to figure out what I need to do. I'm going to write down 5.8. My next number, I need to line up my place values. So my 4 is in the 1 spot, so my 4 goes under my 5. Decimal point, 2, 8, 9. Plus sign, equal sign. All right, so I don't have the same number of digits in the top number. So what did I need to add to the end? Hopefully you remembered and you added your zeros. Now all of our digits are lined up. We have the same number of digits in both problems, so now we can add 0 plus 9, 9, 0 plus 8, 8, 0 plus 2 is 10, carry my 1, 5 plus 4, 9, plus 1 is 10. So you should have had 10.089. All right, now we're going to do 2 story problems. Right, number 4 says, gasoline prices are given to the nearest thousandth of a dollar. If a gallon of gasoline costs $3.499 and increases 9 cents, what is the price of gasoline after the increase? So to know if we're going to add or subtract, we need to find our key word first. So what is our key word in number 4? Or the word that's going to tell us what we need to do. What is our key word? We're going to add or subtract. What is a key word? Hopefully you said increase. Increase. And if we look up at our top notes, it's not going to let me scroll. If you look at your top notes, we wrote increase under the addition. So we know we're going to add because it tells us the number is increasing. All right, so let's write the first value, 3.499. And it increases 9 cents. So we need to add up our place values. So we're going to put the ones under the ones, 0, line up your decimal, 0.09. Okay, again, we don't have the same number of digits. Our 3 and 0s lined up, 4 and 0, 9 and 9. This last 9 has no number, so we need to add a 0. Now both numbers have the same number of digits, so we can add 9 plus 0, 9, 9 plus 9, 18, carry your 1, 4 plus 0, 4, plus 1, 5, bring down your decimal, 3 plus 0 is 3. Now we need to add our label sign. So what are we talking about in this problem? Well, we're talking about the price of gas. Price, and then both of our numbers have a dollar sign. So our label should be the dollar sign. So $3.58.09. All right, last story problem. What is the key word in this one? So let's read it. Number 5. Lorena bought groceries for $102.34 and new shoes for $53.36. How much did Lorena spend on groceries and shoes altogether? So what is the key word in this story problem? How do we know if we're going to add or subtract? So the key word was all together. Also, it's important to know what numbers are we going to be adding. So let's highlight our numbers. So first she bought groceries for $102.34. Then she went and bought new shoes that cost $53.36. So those are the numbers we're going to be using to solve this story problem. I'm going to write down $102.34. And she bought some shoes for $53.36. Make sure we add those, line up those decimals, and then go ahead and add. So 6 plus 4, 10, carry your 1, 3 plus 3, 6, plus our 1 is 7, bring down your decimal, 2 plus 3 is 5, 0 plus 5 is 5, 1 plus nothing is 1. And what is our sign for this one? Dollars. So how much did she spend altogether? she spent $155.70. That is all we're going to do today. Tomorrow we'll work on subtraction. When you finish these notes, then you need to IXL 7.E1 to 80 using no calculator. If you have questions, please ask. See you later.